यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा बनतारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथाय जय बलदेवाय सुभद्रमाय जय सुदर्शनाय जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर जय गौरांगी जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव हरे राम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हरे कृष्णा welcome to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. We will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto 7th chapter verse 54 and 55. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. Okay, let's recite the verses. Let me zoom it a little bit. त्रयाणाम एक भावानां यो न पश्यति वैभिदां सर्वभूतात्मनां ब्रह्मन् स शान्तिमधिगच्छति. त्रयाणाम एक भावानां यो न पश्यति वैभिदां सर्वभूतात्मनां ब्रह्मन् स शान्तिमधिगच्छति. त्रयाणाम एक भावानाम यो न पश्यति वै भेदाम सर्वभूतात्मनां ब्रह्मन् स शांतिमधिगच्छति. Any of you would like to recite? Okay, let's proceed with word by word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Word by word meaning, Trayanam, of the three, Ek Bhavanam, having one nature, Yah, who, Na Pashyati, does not see, Vai, certainly, Bhedam, separateness, Sarva Bhuta Atmanam, of the super soul of all living entities, Brahman, O Daksha, Sah, he, Shantim, peace, Adhigachati, realizes. Translation. The Lord continued, one who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or the living entities in general to be separate from the Supreme, and who knows Brahman actually realizes peace, others do not. Purport. Two words are very significant in this verse. Trayanam indicates three, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Bhedam means different. They are three and therefore they are separate, but at the same time they are one. This is the philosophy of simultaneous oneness and difference, which is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. The example given in the Brahma Samhita is that milk and yogurt are simultaneously one and different. Both are milk, but the yogurt has become changed. In order to achieve real peace, one should see everything and every living entity, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, as non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is independent. Every one of us is an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This accounts for unity in diversity. There are diverse manifestations, but at the same time, they are one in Vishnu. Everything is an expansion of Vishnu's energy. 1 second. Next verse. मैत्रेय उवाच एवं भगवतादिष्टः प्रजापति पतिर्हरिम् अर्चित्वा क्रतुना स्वेन देवानुभयतो यजत्. मैत्रेय उवाच एवं भगवतादिष्टः प्रजापति पतिर्हरिम् अर्चित्वा क्रतुना स्वेन देवानुभयतो यजत्. मैत्रेय उवाच एवं भगवतादिष्टः प्रजापति पतिर्हरिम् अर्चित्वा क्रतुना स्वेन देवानुभयतो यजत्. Maitreya Uvacha said, Evam thus, Bhagavata, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adishtaha, having been instructed, Prajapati Patihi, the head of all the Prajapatis, Harim, Hari, Architva, after worshipping, Kratuna, with the sacrificial ceremonies, Swena, his own, Devan, the demigods, Ubhayataha, separately, or Yajat, worshipped. Translation. The sage Maitreya said, thus Daksha, the head of all Prajapatis, having been nicely instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, worshipped Lord Vishnu. After worshipping him by performing the prescribed sacrificial ceremonies, Daksha separately worshipped Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Purport. Lord Vishnu should be offered everything and his prasad should be distributed to all the demigods. This practice is still followed in the temple of Jagannath at Puri. There are many temples of demigods around the main temple of Jagannath, and the prasada which is offered first to Jagannath is distributed to all the demigods. The deity of Bhagalin is worshipped with the prasada of Vishnu, and also in the famous Lord Shiva temple of Bhubaneswar, the prasada of Lord Vishnu or Lord Jagannath is offered to the deity of Lord Shiva. This is the Vaishnava principle. The Vaishnava does not deride even ordinary living entities, including the small ant. Everyone is offered proper respect according to his position. The offering, however, is in relation to the center, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. The devotee who is highly elevated sees the relationship to Krishna in everything. He does not see anything as being independent of Krishna. That is the vision of oneness. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Very conceptually very one of the fundamentally important topic is covered in today's verses. Achintya Bheda Bhed. This is the like a concept which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to fully and properly describe the concept of absolute truth and also the living entity, how they are related, right? So even though the word begins with achintya, so it's by definition it's inconceivable, fully inconceivable to living entities as, but still to the degree Mahaprabhu and other Vaishnavacharyas have explained, to that degree we should definitely endeavor to understand. We should not say that since it is achintya, we shouldn't even put effort to understand, right? Like Lord Brahma says, right? After performing full austerity, and when basically Garbhodaksai Vishnu appeared and basically shaked his hands, and then he gave a vision also to Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma could see Vaikuntha also, right? In third canto he describes, right? And later he could have a vision to Golok Vrindavan also. So after all that, after scrutinizingly contemplating or reading the Vedas or Vedic knowledge 3 times, and then basically having attended Lord's personal audience and all that, despite that he says that now I understand that I cannot understand Krishna fully. So we cannot say that in the beginning without putting an effort, without putting the austerity, and without going through scripture, without going through the explanations given by Acharya. Yeah. So to the degree it's possible, we will try to discuss. Yeah, so fundamentally here what Lord says, so the context is we might already be aware that Prajapati Daksha, when he was revived, initially he was killed because of committing offense towards Lord Shiva indirectly, and then he was killed by Veerbhadra, right? Then his head was rejoined with a head of a goat, right? And then he did not lose his what do I say, consciousness, right? That he is Prajapati Daksha. Eventually, he resumed the sacrifice and he performed it properly. And then Lord Vishnu appears. Other participants in the sacrificial arena, they glorify Lord Vishnu. Finally, when Lord Vishnu actually reciprocates, when he starts speaking, towards the end now, he is saying this statement, right? That one who does not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or the living entities in general to be separate from the Supreme. So we should not consider Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, or living entities also to be separate from the Supreme. Supreme is Vishnu himself, or Vishnu Tattva, or we could say eventually, ultimately Krishna, right? And who knows Brahman actually realizes peace, right? So this is described as peace formula in this verse, right? So at the same time we hear, right, during when we recite Namapras, right, then we say that to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be independent, so they are also basically and equal, right? So we should not consider that, right? So here also, like, it's a similar thing. but they are not really absolutely same, right? That also we have to understand. So this is what is being covered. That Achintya Veda Ved means, for example, Lord Brahma, he is still a Jiva soul, like Jiva, right? Living entity, right? And but he is highly elevated, so elevated that he is given the highest position in one particular material universe, right? And he is delegated the responsibility for secondary creation. So he is the most elevated in one particular universe. Lord Shiva is like he's neither Jiva Tattva nor Vishnu Tattva. That's a very special case, right? So his position is very, very unique. So that we will see that also from references from books of Srila Prabhupada, right? So yeah, Lord Shiva is transformed form of Lord Vishnu, right? As Brahma Samhita, Srila Prabhupada is quoting from Brahma Samhita. So let's quickly see that, and then we will proceed after that. Yeah, yeah. Not this, I think 42, right? Yeah. क्षीरम यथा दधि विकार विशेष योगा संजायते नहीं ततः पृथगस्ति हेतो यह संभुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्याद गोविंदमादि पुरुषम तमहं भजामि. Yeah. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, visually milk. So I adore the primal Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Sambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction, right? So let's see one interesting thing here. What Srila Prabhupada has mentioned. Yeah, this is what I wanted to refer. The 50 attributes of individual souls are manifest in a far vaster measure in Sambhu, and 5 additional attributes not attainable, right, by any jivas are also partly found in him, right? So Shambhu cannot be called a jiva. He is the Lord of Jiva, but yet partakes of the nature of a separated portion of Govinda. So he's not a Swansa, but yet he is basically a special. He is a special category in himself, right? So yeah, he's like almost same as Lord Vishnu, but not same as Vishnu, right? Literally, right? So he has been invested so much potency by Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, for the sake of material creation. Also, there are several things which at very high level it appears that it is directly created by Krishna. But yesterday when I was going through lecture and material related to this verse, I found out that like some of the things like 16 elements, right, of creation fundamentally, right? So those things are, even though in the Mangalacharan, right, Sukadeva Goswami's Mangalacharan, let me open that, or maybe it's a famous verse 2:423. Okay, so that is like Bhutair Mahadvir Yaimah Puro Vibhur Nirmaya Shete Yad Amushu Purusha Bhungte Gunana Sodasa Sodasatmakaha So Alankrisheshta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me. Okay, so it appears from there that that 16 elements are directly created by Lord Mahavishnu. Okay, but we will see the contrast, 2:23. Yeah. Let's see that. Yeah, so this is like Shukadeva Goswami, recites the Mangalacharan before eventually starting to answer Parikshit Maharaj's question. Initially, he replied something, but then he forgot actually in ecstasy and out of excitement that he has to recite Mangalacharan. So then after a few chapters, then Mangalacharan comes here. So anyway, let's see the translation. Yeah. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens the materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, that is Karanadaksai Vishnu, right? And who in his Purusha incarnation causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 division of material modes, right? Which are his generator, right? Be pleased to decorate my statements. So we will see here. Yeah. Then these are like 5 Pancha Mahabhuta, and 11 senses, right? Essentially, including mind, right? Five Jnanendriya, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and 5 action, right? 5 Karmendriyas, right? So, and 1 is mind, and 5 is Pancha Mahabhut. So, this is referred as directly being manifested from the Lord, Vishnu, essentially. But in some other place, it is mentioned that it is Lord Shiva who actually creates this. Eventually, he is the via medium, or he is the, he does this on behalf of Vishnu. So it is mentioned in some places. We will see that actually when Krishna has to touch material energy, then for that purpose he manifests Lord Shiva. As you can say he comes under Guna Avatar also, he comes under Shakti Avatar also, which is very surprising. But the evidences say that Lord Shiva comes both under Guna Avatar and Shakti Avatar. Brahma also. Lord Brahmaji also comes under Gunavatar, as well as he comes under the category of Saktyabhis Avatar. We will see the evidences later. So, this was the most important point, like Achinta Bhedaved, that qualitatively, even Brahma and each individual spirit soul, they are qualitatively same, Sachidananda, right? But quantitatively, we are very different. Like we are Anu and Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu Tattvas, they are Vibhu. They are infinite, we are infinitesimal, right? So this is basic thing. Like Prabhupada gives several examples, right? Like a drop of an ocean, it has same chemical properties as the whole ocean, but the ocean is like infinite compared to this drop of one drop of water from ocean, and drop is the infinitesimal. Ocean is infinite. Yeah. So similarly, Krishna's potency and Krishna's energy and any Vishnu Tattva, they are infinite compared to any Jiva soul. And Jiva soul can never convert into basically spirits, as Vishnu Tattva. So integrated form, differentiated form. And these are the terminologies Srila Prabhupada uses. Yeah. So let's see some of the evidences. How even, so actually what happens, some of the Puranas, right, which are dedicated to glorifying Lord Shiva, that Purana or those Puranas, they glorify Lord Shiva as being supreme, right? It is a fact, right? If you go to some Puran, Shiv Puran or some other relevant Puranas, and if you go to some Puran which is dedicated to or mainly dedicated to Lord Brahma, there it would appear that Brahma is supreme. But Jiva Goswami says that actually the Puranas in the mode of goodness, right? That supersedes Puranas in the mode of Puranas who cater to the people in the mode of ignorance, and Puranas that cater to the mode to the people in the mode of passion. So that is super. Those are superseded by Srimad Bhagavatam, essentially, right? As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Aradhyo Bhagavan Brjesh Tanayas Tadham Vrindavanam Ramya Kachet Upasana Brajvadhuvargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalang Prema Pumartho Mahan," right? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tattradharana Para, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalang. Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless and final authority, right? So that is the thing we have to follow as a member of Brahma Madhava Gauriya Sampradaya. We should and we must actually take Srimad Bhagavatam as the final authority in any matter, right? So considering that, when Srimad Bhagavatam says clearly that Ete chams kalah punsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indradi Vyakulam Lokam Mridyanti Yuge Yuge. Or there are several other places where Lord Vishnu's supremacy or Lord Krishna's supremacy is mentioned. So that we have to accept wholeheartedly, right? So now let us see some relevant connecting dots from other places. So here it says that, a Lord says that one who understands that they are not independent. Essentially, it means that Brahma and Shiva, they are not independent of Vishnu, right? So Vishnu creates the initial, this cloud, that part area, and Mahatattva is manifested, time is manifested, right? And then basically fundamental, components of material nature, those are created, and then time agitates basically the gunas, three gunas, they are in equilibrium, and time is the element which actually agitates them, right? These gunas, prakriti, modes of material nature, right? And then when they are not in equilibrium, then accordingly different sorts of living entities, they dominate different sections of the creation, right? When Satoguna is dominant, then devas and sages, they are in control of the universal affair. When Tamoguna comes, then Bhutas, Pisachas, and others, Rakshasas, they are in, they dominate. And when actually passion increases, it dominates other modes. Then Daityas and relevant related people or entities, they actually dominate the basically creation, right? So let's see some first Santim, right? Peace formulas references, right? Famous Bhagavad Gita. Bhoktarang yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mang samtim richati. So here sarvaloka maheshwaram. In all situations, all circumstances, all places, that Krishna is or Vishnu Tattva, there is special that without, see, if a person, a normal living entity who actually has some control over some section, right? So our control or our power is limited by time place, and all circumstances, right? So basically, for some time, someone is rich. For some time, someone is prime minister, right? So it is for limited by the duration of time. But Krishna is like ever. He is not limited by time. His effects or his control is not limited by time's boundary, right? So, as famous Bhagavatam verse says, and here Chatusloki first verse, or Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, "Aham sarvasya prabhu." That is different. Yeah. Aham sarvasya prabhu. Okay. So more relevant is aham evasam evagre, right? So nanyat sat param paschadham yadetacha yovasishyata so asmi aham. So he's not limited by time and place, right? Everywhere at all time. That is like Krishna's or Vishnu's, power is always exerted. So, one of the fundamental gains or goals of our spiritual practice, hearing so much or reading so much, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, is to develop or is to give up, the sense of Isatvam, that I am the controller, I am in charge, fully, independent of Guru and Krishna, right? Whatever I say should happen. So that is Isatvam, to be free from this kind of, controllership tendency, independent of Guru and Krishna. Of course, if Guru delegates some service, so in that scenario, we can should not say that here also I should be free from the coordinator or controller. Whatever control needs to be exerted for the smooth execution of service, that is fine. But if one develops that I am basically independently in control, then that is like a not good. That binds us to material creation, right? That keeps us bound in the perpetual birth and death, right? So one goal is to give up the sense of false proprietorship. That is one. Another is that I'm a big person. Big person, like when big personality demigods are nothing, right? We know that famous incident, right? Lord Brahma, when once he went to meet Lord Krishna, and the Dwarpal, right, the doorkeepers, right, they asked him, "Who are you?" He says, "I am Brahma. Go and tell Krishna I want to meet him right now." The doorkeepers, they come inside, that tell Krishna that Brahma has come. Krishna, of course, wanted to make Brahmaji humble. That's why he said, the doorkeeper, go and ask him which Brahma. Then our Brahmaji, he became surprised that are there multiple Brahmas? All that we know that, right? So when he is permitted to go inside, then he sees there are many big Brahmas from bigger universes. So point is, this is like I'm all in all, right? This kind of philosophy, this kind of mentality. It may not be exhibited in a gross way, but these things are very subtle. In some scenarios, if we are careful, then we can notice. I'm not saying that everyone is like that. I'm saying it is to be contemplated. These things are very subtle. Okay, so it can go away. Subtle things actually take more effort to actually get rid of, right? So it can go away by our sincere prayer. And fundamental thing is by sincerely chanting our minimum 16 rounds of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is like fundamental thing, right? 99% of our Krishna Bhakti is covered by a sincere chanting of minimum 16 rounds, right? So if we chant, then what happens? Cheto Darpan Marjanam. Yeah, all the anarthas and all the anarthas essentially which prohibit us, which impede us in attaining the goal of life, right? Which is like attaining love for Krishna or going back to spiritual world eventually. So all these anarthas are wiped clean when we chant sincerely and when we hear Krishna Katha sincerely, right? So these are the fundamental things. So I was talking about two goals, right? One is basically one is being freed from sense of controller. Another there is to realize that how infinitesimal, how insignificant we are, how insignificant, right? There is past time during Srila Prabhupada. One time, Srila Prabhupada wanted to, instruct something to Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, right? So something happened. Then Srila Prabhupada comes indirectly to the lesson. He says, in the whole material, there are infinitesimal material universes. In one universe, there is one solar system. In that solar system, we have planet Earth. In that, on that Earth, we have this place called this like country, America. Then we have one city. Inside that city, we have one small temple. And then Tamal Krishna, he thinks that or something. I don't know the exact wording, so I will not extrapolate here. But the point is that Srila Prabhupada he conveyed this, that how insignificant we are, right? So that is one good anecdote from the time of Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, when we really understand that Krishna is present in everyone's, see, a person in full consciousness of me. See, these prefixes are very critical actually. Srila Prabhupada actually, prefixes a general statement with critical words so that we understand that where we are, right? In full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material desires, miseries, material miseries, right? So one thing is, I was I came across a point that what happens when we genuinely are convinced that Krishna as a Paramatma is present in every living entity. Theoretically we all know, right? But I'm talking about myself now, that I don't yet have that spiritual vision that I can see at that level that all the living entities, they are, by some reason they have acquired this particular body, whether it's a dog or even some human being apparently not behaving in a civilized way, but still Paramatma is there, and that person is working under the modes of nature. I am also under the modes of nature, not that I am free of the modes of nature. So if possible, I should help that person, right? Or that living entity. In any condition, we can definitely share Krishna Prasad, right? As we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, right? That Sivanand Sen dog was also basically given mercy by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was fed, that dog was fed Krishna Prasad, right? So sometimes I heard that devotees are saying that dog is the one entity we should not actually, give prasad. But that is not correct, right? Based on this incident, even Vaishnavas, even dog is basically given mercy in the form of prasad. So by offering prasad, we can help anyone, and of course first ourselves, right? So it is said that janma sarthak kari karo paropkar. First of all, I myself have to follow the practice of absolute dependence on Krishna Prasad, right? And then developing this tendency that whenever possible I should share prasad. So this is one practical way of working on this theory, right? The theory says that Krishna is the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. So Paramatma is present everywhere. And if I want to, really realize that nobody is independent of Krishna, everybody has a concrete relationship with Krishna, every soul, right? As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 15:7, right? Mamayvamso jivaloke jivbhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakriti asthani karsati. So all are basically my part and parcel only, and they are struggling with six senses, which includes the mind, right? Let's see quickly the translation, right? Here. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts, but we are Krishna's parts and parcels, right? Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind, right? So point is, everybody is related to Krishna. So a practical demonstration of, or practicing this philosophy, I just said that we should share prasad, and basically when we perform Nagar Sankirtan, right? So then we are actually demonstrating this, theory or instruction that we should see everyone as connected to Krishna. And this point we should, understand little more. When parents, when they beget children, right? So the soul which is in the body of the child, right? The soul is not a product of the souls of father and mother, right? Two souls don't create another soul. The soul still is part and parcel of Krishna, right? So it is just because of the karmic effect, a particular soul it takes a body and is born into a particular family because of some previous obligations or karmas or this or that, right? All souls are part of Krishna. Yeah, soul does not create. So even the parents, when they say my child, right? Which is fine, because we need that, they need the affection, that relationship of affection has to be there. Otherwise, how will the child be nourished? That is there. But one who is conversant with a spiritual philosophy, we should also understand that my relationship to that child is via the medium of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says actually, in Bhagavatam first canto, I think first, second, initial chapters, I don't remember exactly where, he says that the blood relation is there, right? That Srila Prabhupada says the relationship via the medium of Krishna is most durable and it is most beneficial. So even family members, if we, deal with them, knowing this philosophy that this soul is also part and parcel of Krishna, and I can actually, basically help, each other in family, right? Progress towards Krishna conscious, towards Krishna bhakti, right? So that concept or philosophy we can keep in our mind, right, while dealing with anyone, beginning from family members and outside also. Now let us see some other things. How actually, even though here Lord Vishnu says that Brahma and Shiva are same. Same means qualitatively, like the soul, even though Shiva is different, but still qualitatively Sachidan, everyone is Sachidanan, but Krishna is Vibhu. Let's see the examples. This we already discussed. Let's see if there is something specific I wanted to share. Yeah, unless we understand that Lord Krishna is the supreme all in all, Iswara Parama Krishna, unless we understand that, we cannot achieve peace in this world, individually or collectively. Okay, this is fine. Okay, few quick references we will cover. Yeah, here is Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita, first verse, right? Aham sarvasya prabhu, mattah sarvam pravartate, iti matva bhajante mam, buddha bhava samanmita. Samanmita means fully endowed, like with great attention. Okay, let's see. He says, I am the source of all spiritual and material world, both. Not that only material worlds, and not only spiritual, both, right? All anything and everything which is there in existence, whether in material world or spiritual world, everything emanates from Lord Krishna, essentially, right? It's ultimately from Krishna. The direct manifestation we could attribute to Lord Mahavishnu, yeah. But the Param Karan, right? The ultimate cause is Krishna always, right? As we know from famous verse, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karan Karanam. So everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Okay, we will come back to this. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, yeah, this exactly this thing. Yes, this passage from Upanishad. Narayanad Brahma Jayate. See, Brahma is also born, even though yeah, means we see that from Garbhodak side, that from his navel, the lotus stem comes, lotus flower is there, then Brahma appears there, right? So this is like a very evident, very clear. Then yes, this one. Narayanad Ekadas Rudra Jayante, right? So this like there you might have come across many such temples, right? Ekadas Rudra. I have seen such temples where Lord, Lord Shiva, he is manifested in Ekadas Rudra form, right? In our fifth canto cover photo also we see that, right? There are exactly 11 depiction or 11 figures of Lord Rudra, Lord Shiva, right? So this is what I wanted to share. Narayanad Ekadas Rudra Jayante, right? So this is authoritative statement, right? Yeah. From Narayana, the 11 Rudras are born, right? Not that Lord Shiva has independent supreme existence. Yeah. This is what I wanted to say from Chatusloki, first verse. Then here, let's see in Virat Rupa, even when Arjuna glorifies Lord Krishna's Virat Rupa, right? Then he says, oh, greater one, greater even than Brahma, right? So the verse here, Kasmat Chate Naviran Mahatman Gariyase Brahmanopi Adi Kartre, right? Like that. So this some quick references I wanted to cover for the sake of reinforcing. And now let us see. Yeah, Avatara. Okay, so this is teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Of course, taken from Chaitanya Charitamrita only. But here we will see two quick references regarding Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma's position, right? So here, this one. As for the Gunavatars, of course, we know that Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma is like in charge of mode of passion, and basically Lord Shiva is in charge of mode of ignorance, and using energy invested by Krishna into him, he actually conducts the annihilation step, right? He does that actually. Yeah. So fine. We saw that, and Supreme Lord, yeah. Brahma is likened to valuable jewel influenced by the rays of sun. Yeah. And yeah, similarly, this part actually. Lord Brahma, actually, we are more clear about Lord Brahma, but understanding Lord Shiva fully is very, technically not easy. It needs a lot of effort. In fact, one place I came across yesterday that it's not possible to fully understand the concept of Lord Shiva. Similarly, by expanding himself as Lord Shiva, the Supreme Lord is engaged when there is a need to annihilate the universe, right? One particular point. Yeah, this in 88th chapter, like Vikaso, right? From so he was like Krishna actually killed him to save Lord Shiva. So in that context, it is mentioned in that chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Shiva is a combination of three kinds of transformed consciousness known as Vaikaric, Taijas, and a Tamas. Okay, these are pure technical things, but nevertheless, for the sake of completeness, I wanted to refer these places. Yeah. Yes. Here one. Okay, same thing. We already covered this. Let's quickly see any other. Yeah, Lord Shiva cannot be called a Jiva. This also we already discussed. Yes. Here to second canto, fifth chapter, Naradji asks Brahmaji, it appears that you are supreme, but then I see that you are, it appears from other symptoms that you are not supreme. So then he asks the clarification, like some of the clarificatory questions. Then Brahmaji actually says, this is defining one of the defining verses in that context, right? Yen swarochi sa vishram rochitang rochiyami ham yatharko agnir yatha somo yathaksh grahataraka, right? I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence. There's the medium instrument, right? So Krishna has delegated these services to Brahmaji, right? Just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, firmament, influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness. So they all are the secondary, they reflect the original energy of sun, right? Like that. So this is one important verse actually in that context, that Brahmaji openly accepts it, that I am the secondary creator, right? There are many other evidences, but this is one in the beginning phase which I wanted to cover. Yeah. Now let's see. Yes, regarding Lord Shiva, in some places, apparently Lord Shiva is also addressed as Paramatma. But that Paramatma reference is not really meant that Lord Shiva, he is really Paramatma. But let's see. Okay, it's not here, someplace. Okay, we'll come to that point, huh? So that is like there are 3, 4 places where in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, when demigods they pray, then they call out Lord Shiva as the Paramatma. Okay, but Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, but that is not the case. When they say Paramatma, that means there it is indicating that he is endowed by power of Lord Vishnu. Okay, so it's like that. Okay. So here it is mentioned when the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita that he is the father of living entities. So this refers to action performed by Lord Vishnu through Lord Shiva. This is very, very, kind of, I would say, astonishing or surprising. Generally, we take it as, and that directly Mahavishnu actually, he caused all the living entities, rebellious souls, to be manifested or impregnated into Mahatattva, I mean, like in the material, original, initial material creation, that phase, right? But here, that via medium or the agent is actually through Lord Shiva. Very, like to me, it was very surprising or astonishing. Yeah. So he's directly not touching material creation ever. So when he wants to do it, then he does it through Lord Shiva, right? Lord Vishnu performs them through Lord Shiva. Therefore, worship on the level of Vishnu, not absolutely, because there are some more clarification later that we don't actually put Lord Shiva exactly at the same level of Lord Vishnu Tattva in the altar, right? So, but almost same like that. So when in fact, Vaishnavas, they don't worship Lord Shiva in the same altar where Lord Vishnu is worshipped, right? When Lord Vishnu is untouched. Yeah. So then he's Vishnu, but when he's in touch with the external energy, he appears in his feature as Lord Shiva. So understanding, as I said in the early phase, that understanding Lord Shiva is very, very difficult. Yeah? Understanding Lord Brahma is much easier compared to, easier means we cannot understand him fully, but much easier compared to understanding Lord Shiva. Yeah. So now let's see one few things. Actually, the cosmic manifestations, the beginning phase, the manifestation, maintenance, and destruction. Actually, there are some glorifications in Bhagavatam where it is reinforced or clarified by devotees that if all three phases are actually conducted by Lord Vishnu only. Okay, it appears that Lord Brahma is actually involved into creation, secondary creation. For that also, the power is completely given by Krishna, right? He is the enabling factor. Even the destruction, right? It appears that Lord Shiva is actually doing the destruction. He's destroying the universe, the material elements, or sometimes it appears that Ananta Dev is burning, right, at the final annihilation, all that, right? But in various, this is one example, various places, devotees do proclaim that it is you only who actually does the manifestation, maintenance, as well as destruction, right? See here, Nagapatnis, they are glorifying Krishna, right, in Vrindavan, right? So, Tom hi asya janma sthiti sanyaman. Sanyam means essentially the destruction, creation, maintenance, and destruction. Janma is creation, sthiti is maintenance, and samyaman is destruction. So you only, see, indeed it is you only. You are the real reason behind even destruction. How? Through your eternal potency of time, right? So this time, Krishna, Srila Prabhupada has explained in first many places, but in first canto, very clearly, he has mentioned when Bhishma Deva, like ninth chapter, first canto, ninth chapter, right? So at that, like before Bhishma Stuti, right? Previous verses, it is mentioned that the Kal or the time, it is the inconceivable willpower of Krishna. It is the exhibition of Krishna's inconceivable willpower. Whatever Krishna wants, right? Krishna is called Krishnaya Akuntha Medhase. Whatever he wants, whatever he desires, that cannot be checked, that cannot be stopped. It has to happen, it will happen. So Krishna's inconceivable willpower is manifested in the form of time. So, time is what actually agitates modes of nature, as I mentioned earlier, right? So anything, when Bali Maharaj, example, when there was a Devasur Sangram, right? So first Daityas, they lost, after the churning of milk ocean. Okay, so later when Shukracharya revived Bali Maharaj through Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya, and then Devas are able, Daityas are able to conquer the heavenly planet again by the power of Shukracharya's, gurus, and Prahlad Maharaj also blessed Bali Maharaj to conquer the heavenly planet, right? So at that time, the time was not suitable for conducive for demigods, right? Similarly, when Vaman Dev appeared, and Vaman Dev, when he increased his size, right, at the time of actually capturing entire three planetary system, which was more or less under the control of Bali Maharaj. So at that time, when the Daityas, right, they became angry and they tried to counteract Vamandev, then Bali Maharaj forbids them, saying that the time is not conducive in favor of us right now. Now, see, these kind of scenarios are actually discussed in several places in Srimad Bhagavatam. The time is not in our favor. One party or another party will say. And then they actually, intelligent personalities, they give in or they surrender to the will of Lord, understanding that the time is changing. That means it is the will of the Lord, like that. Sorry for this disturbance. Near a vehicle sound. Anyway, yeah. So that is the thing. So time is also fundamental energy of Krishna. Okay. Through that only the karma and karma phala is experienced, or what do I say? Means enjoyed or suffered, right? So if someone does some piety, right, the result could be, that he or that soul should enjoy heavenly pleasures for again 10,000 years. That means it's a time duration. So to facilitate the karmic, action reaction, and enjoyment suffering, for that this concept of time is manifested by Mahavishnu, and basically Krishna, through Mahavishnu. But again, it is mentioned in some place that ultimately it's the Lord Shiva who actually manifests that Kala. But originally it's the energy of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, right? So like that. So this is like essentially Achinta Vedaved. We cannot understand it fully, but to the extent we can understand, we should put our effort. Yeah. So now let's actually see if I missed out some other important points. Yeah. No one is independent. Yeah. We are till the time we are conditioned. Prahlad Maharaj says, right? Nate vido swartha gating he Vishnum, durasaya ye bahirartha manina, andha yathande upniyamanas, te api is tantryam urudamni baddha, right? Urudamni means great, actually. It's a great control of material nature on conditioned souls, right? So, 531, this should be, yeah. So, yeah. Te api is tantryam urudamni baddha. Urudamni, let's see, it's, what is the meaning of this, right? Is tantrayam. See, it is to the ropes of material nature, but it is a ease. Essentially, these laws are infallible laws, and it is binding us, like at least me, I being the conditioned soul, right? So I cannot be right now, act something like above the level of gunas, right? Unless I mature spiritually, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 14.26. Mang cha yo abhicharena bhakti yogane sevate sagunan samtitetan brahma bhoyaya kalpate. See, Urudamni, having very strong codes, right? So this is the example of what I was saying, that how much we are not independent, right? We are under the strict control of time and modes of nature, right? So time actually ages our body, and then eventually everything finishes, right? As Krishna says. Yeah, this one point. There was something else I'm missing out, but maybe it's not. Yeah, non-different, fine. Okay, if here the second verse of for today's discussion. Yeah, it is like Vaishnava does not deride even ordinary living entity. Yeah, so we should be respectful to every living entity. Yeah, but we have to use we have to discriminate, right? How basically we have don't need to associate intimately with anyone and everyone, but we have to show compassion by Harinam Sankirtan and distributing Krishna Prasad. That is practical demonstration of seeing every soul as connected to with Krishna, right? So that I already discussed. Yeah. Yeah, so this is like Pandita, right? At that level, when we reach that we are spiritually mature, then the genuine compassion will always be in our heart, right? So it's a work in progress for most of us, at least for me. So yeah, I will end here. If there is any question or any comment or any rectification, I'm open to that. Okay, looks like no comment, no question. Fine. We will stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thanks for your patience.